These are the 5 best Pokemon released into the metagame from the home update. This list, by the way, doesn't include the banned Pokemon and obviously only is talking about Pokemon released into the metagame, not Pokemon that were already in it. This list, by the way, is also in no particular order. First one we have to talk about is Ursuluna. This Pokemon needs no introduction. Its stats, move pool, and ridiculous damage speaks for itself. Although sure, losing Magearna in the meta for the Pokemon did suck to a degree, it's still very viable underneath Trick Room with its powerful facades. I've seen Heatran, Cresselia, Glowking, etc. fill in for the Magearna slot, and while it's not the same, it can still get the job done. It doesn't even need Trick Room anyways to even still be powerful. It's still good by itself because of its min-max stats. Not to mention even its low stats like speed for example, still help it out because of its Trick Room viability, and its special defense stats of 80 actually isn't all that bad and pairs pretty well for bulky offensive tank nature that it has. What also separates from the pack is that it also has pretty good natures other than guts like Unnerve and Bulletproof, which Bulletproof can block moves like Aura Sphere etc. that Ursuluna is weak to. Normal and ground type is a really good type combination offensively and defensively for this beast. Stab ground moves and stab facade, which again if Terra Normal can be a stronger stab, is just so good. I can go on and on, but this will be a repetitive to a video I've already made, so check that out if you want to know more about my opinion on Ursuluna. The next Pokemon I want to discuss has got to be Urshifu Rapid Strike form. Urshifu Rapid Strike form has been a low-key not talked about enough and has been extremely meta powerful when not checked properly. It's got Swords Dance, which is a huge boost to its already powerful game-breaking ability and amazing offenses. This Pokemon also got Speed Control move in a matter of Trailblaze, which allows it to boost its speed by 1 stage. Base 97 speed is kinda mediocre, and with Trailblaze this allows it to get easy snowballing towards your opponent's side. Obviously though, Trailblaze hasn't really seen that much play because it can be easy to play around, but nevertheless I thought it was a good mention to make of. Urshifu can even Terrasilize for defensive typing or even for more offensive potency with Surging Strikes, and that can be a nightmare. This in conjunction with Punching Glove to protect having contact with Pokemon with Flame Body or Static can help its longevity. This Pokemon hits hard, fast, and can really get going if you're not careful. Urshifu, even in rain teams, as I've observed, can even abuse the rain boost alongside Terra Water, so Surging Strikes can be even stronger. Now obviously, the problem in the last generation still kind of exists, with Pokemon like Toxapex still running around, but Urshifu still poses as a dominant threat overall towards the tier's main Pokemon, and so much so because of the addition of Swords Dance, which catapults its potency. Following Urshifu, the next Pokemon that has been pretty good is Enamorous. Both forms have been pretty solid in their own respective ways, although I will admit Incarnate seems to be the more dominant one. Incarnate has a couple of sets I've seen. Obviously, the Contrary set is no-brainer. Contrary coupled with Superpower helps it boost its physical stats to greater heights with its already good speed. I've seen this snowball towards teams faster than I'll even look at my own ELO. It's even got other physical moves to pair well with Superpower like Play Rough, Send Headbutt, Iron Head, Body Slam, or even Terra Blast if that comes to that. Now, also the downside is that with both forms they don't really have flying coverage and it's mostly just used as a defensive typing unless you're terroring this thing. Anyways, of course, Enamorous physical sets have been proven to be powerful against most opponents. Its speed of 106, though it can be lackluster at times coupled with its frailty, but behind screens I've seen success for this Pokemon nevertheless. The other version of Incarnate that I've seen take advantage of its huge 135 special attack stat is this cute charm special version of Enamorous. Some of them are scarfed, others are boots, etc. The items vary from what I've seen, but especially Enamorous hits like a truck right off the bat, unlike the physical version. Now obviously in the long run, physical has the most potential to do more damage, but this version is definitely the more consistent one. Moonblast, Mystical Fire, Earth Power, Focus Blast, Sludge Bomb, etc. and even Terra Flying, Terra Blast can also be a bit more flexible on this version in my opinion. Mystical Fire especially helps counter those few Pokemon that can switch onto those powerful Fairy type moves. Fairy is already pretty strong offensively, and now having 2 ways to counter its weaknesses with Earth Power and Mystical Fire adds to an already powerful arsenal on the special side, which is why you can really not disregard both ways of using Incarnate form. And I know, its ability isn't anything eye-popping, but Cute Charm having that ability to infatuate the opponent and basically have them underneath an RNG mechanic can really help greatly for your side and shift momentum suddenly. Enamorous Therian as well has been excellent with Trick Room strats, or AV sets. Unlike its Incarnate form, this is a more bulky defensive wall and can eat up hits pretty nice, especially behind screens. Now, it doesn't have the greatest defensive typing in the world, nor good recovery or utility moves like a defensive beast should have, but nevertheless, it still functions pretty well in the metagame as a slow, tanky hitter. It still has a powerful 135 special attack stat and can even tear to avoid some of its weaknesses, most notably Steel. Overcoat is also pretty handy ability to avoid sleep from occasional Moongus. Now this version unfortunately is usually played in one way, with people changing its EVs to invest in different things, but overall it's played as a bulky, slow hard hitter, and that's what its move pool really demands. I wish this had more defensive tools to play around with other than like Calm Mind, but nevertheless it's still pretty solid. Is it better than its incarnate form? No, but it still has a place and frankly is pretty powerful in the meta. I thought it was pretty good to mention this anyways, since I was talking about Enamorous incarnate form, and it'd be pretty weird if I didn't include the Galerian form, which has been pretty used quite a bit here and there. Next up, we gotta talk about Galerian Slowking, and it's picked off where it left off in Generation 8. To no one's surprise, this thing has basically replaced Cantonian Slowking as the splashable wall every team desires. Talking about stat changes, nothing changed on the defensive side, which isn't a bad thing. It already had pretty good defenses. In fact, what differs this from original Slowking is its lower physical attack stat, which is then made up in this greater special attack stat of 110. So in retrospect, it did get better, and not to mention its better defensive typing. The Psychic and Poison typing allows for great defensive pivot between many Fairy types, Grass types, and other various Pokemon that are popular in the metagame. Not to say Water is bad at all, but Poison helps bring out most of the key popular resistances and doesn't have many weaknesses as the former Cantonian version. While its lack of PP got cut in half, it still has recovery at least. And sure, it does not have Teleport, but Chilly Reception has been a fine substitute in the meantime, still being able to bring in Pokemon pretty safely. Add along stab poison moves as in Sludge Bomb to not only poison foes, but scare away Fairy types in addition to make this Pokemon pretty desirable onto your side. Currently, this is the Glow King set I run on my team, and it's been pretty valuable to help pivot between Pokemon or offer to be a defensive anchor. Before I get to the last Pokemon, I want to discuss some other key notable home-released Pokemon. Heatran is amazing, and this list does not take anything away from it, but terrestrialization has probably slowed it down more than it would like. Volcarona, who used to struggle against this thing, can slap on a Terra Water Terra Blast, and because of that, there's a lot of other gimmicks around with other Pokemon that can easily go around it as well. The rise of Urshifu, Ursuluna, and with Great Tusk still around, it's still in my opinion having a bit more difficulty time than usual. Sneasler and Directclaw need no introduction, as you guys obviously know. Galerian Articuno has been really good with Terra fighting stored power gimmicks similar to another Pokemon of Poltergeist earlier in the meta. However, it can be a bit too gimmicky and it's too frail at times, which makes it easy to counter. Basque Legion Male has helped rise the rain teams into greater heights. Hoopa Unbound has no longer Pursuit to worry about, and so it's been kind of decent in the meta. Hisuain Samurott as well for leads. Like, there are probably countless other Pokemon that I could have made on this list, but because they didn't, I just want to make sure I just mentioned them as well before I move on to the final one. Anyways, the last pretty good Pokemon in this meta has got to be Zamazenta Hero form without question. This is one of the best Pokemon to be released back into OU, and there's a reason why its crown form got banned. While Zamazenta Hero doesn't have the better defensive typing or stats, what it does have is better speed and better power. For a while now, until recently, this Pokemon is overshadowed by its superior, as it was basically the inferior version of its other form. However, with it banned now, Zamazenta has proved to be a valuable asset to a lot of teams. For starters, it is great, and I mean great revenge killer, with little to nothing outspeeding it with its base 138 speed stat. Tack this along with the choice band and this thing can get going in a flash. It's even got a good move pool with CC, Play Rough, Crunch, and the Fangs. The other thing is as well, you can still pull off similar iron defense strategies done with this crown form, since it still has solid stats and a good ability that go hand in hand. Leftovers and Rocky Helmet are also usable items in this form, since it isn't holding the shield like its other crown form, so theoretically speaking, it can still be good as a defensive wall if need to be, to a degree that is. You can even Terra to Steel to have all those fighting type weaknesses to a resistant, with the exception of Dark still being neutral. Terra Dark for more coverage, or Terra Dark for more extreme crunches. Zamazenta is very versatile in its playstyle and terrestrialization ability. This Pokemon as well has also been on the radar for its ban because of its fast, more offensive playstyle compared to the slow-paced Crown version had. And with the bans of Magearna, Crown, Chiampao, and Regieleki, this Pokemon has been popping up more and more as it's having more freedom to roam across the tier. There is no telling if people still want this thing to stick around in the tier now, but nevertheless, Zamazenta has to be one of the most imposing Pokemon from the release of Pokemon Home as the days pass on. Anyways, this is my list of the best Pokemon that came from Pokemon Home that are on the OU metagame as of this moment. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this list. Once again, this is an opinionated list, so feel free to respectfully leave your thoughts down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video as well, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more competitive content. I make a lot of competitive content similar to this type, so if you guys enjoyed this video, you guys will sure like my other videos and future videos coming soon. And oh, join the Discord as well, link in the description. Till next time.